So Christopher Gross Chris is here to talk to us about enabling better feedback to make Primo work for you. He's an electronic resources specialist at George Washington University in Washington, D.C., and he has over 25 years experience at GW, including managing the print journals and microforms collections, and made the leap to e-resources about 10 years ago. He is the senior member of the e-resources troubleshooting team, served on the ALMA and Primo VE implementation teams, and is now a member of the Washington Research Libraries Consortium's e-resources committee. So thank you, Chris. I will give you a heads up at the 20-minute mark, and you can answer questions at that time as you wish. Thanks.
Thank you. Let me see if I can share my screen here. Okay. All right. So before I start, I'd like to mention that I co-wrote this presentation with my colleague Jocelyn Leventhal. She was actually the one who first came up with the idea. But after the presentation was accepted, she got a new job that wanted her to start unexpectedly soon. So she will not be presenting today. It's just me. Okay. So I will start with a couple of questions. These are just rhetorical. You don't need to answer online. First, how often do you first learn about a problem with e-resources through patron feedback? And second, how often do you suspect that many other patrons saw that same problem before one of them reported it? In our case, the answer to the first question is very often. And the answer to the second question is also very often. User feedback is critical to managing Primo in any online service. Therefore, we need to make it as easy as possible for users to report problems and also handle those problems efficiently once we get them. So, our response to this need is the Found a Problem link that we've added to Primo. In this presentation, I'll discuss what the Found a Problem link is, how and why we developed it, how we set it up, and I'll mention right up front that this was done using JavaScript in the Primo customization. It's not a basic setting in Primo VE. After that, we'll look at our team organization and workflow for handling reports, and finally, how it's helped us with a few concrete examples. First, some background on who we are. The George Washington University is a medium-sized research university located in downtown Washington, D.C. The GW libraries, where I work, consists of the main library and two satellite libraries. The law and medical libraries are separate. GW is part of the Washington Research Library Consortium, a consortium of 9 local universities who share systems. We went live with ALMA and Primo in July 2018, and we had the distinction of being the first consortium to go live directly with Primo VE. So we never used Primo back office. Each WRLC institution has its own ALMA institution zone, and most importantly for this presentation, each university has its own Primo customization package. So the Found a Problem link I'm going to talk about is specifically at the GW libraries. So, how we developed this concept. We knew from the beginning that we would want some sort of link in Primo for users to report problems. We had already had good results with similar links in our previous link resolvers and in our customized easy proxy error messages. Then we started doing user testing. As a side note, we strongly recommend doing usability testing for Primo in any user-facing service. Testing with patrons re-emphasized the need for a problem reporting link, but we also did usability testing sessions with groups of staff members where we combined the usual tests with training and checking for migration problems. At first, we used a shared spreadsheet for the problems found, but one of our librarians, Debbie Bezanson, pointed out that a problem reporting link would be useful for collecting those problems. And she also strongly advocated for a user-side link for patrons after go live. That was the critical point that started us really thinking about how to use the found a problem link. Testing had shown that any interface element, no matter how clear it seemed to us, could be overlooked by many users. So the Primo implementation team decided that we should not only add such a link, but add it in as many places in the Primo results screen as possible. So this is a close-up of the found a problem link. The next screenshot here shows a complete detailed record in Primo with all of the places that the found a problem link appears ringed in red. So you can see it's at the top left under the cover image, under the send to bar, underneath the view online section, and in short, under every section of the record. If a record has more sections, such as a journal with print holdings, there would be a link under each one of those sections too. The multitude of links maximizes the chances that a patron will have a link in sight at the moment they realize there's a problem. So how do we set this up? The general process is this. The user clicks on the found a problem link. They're directed to a web form, and the form results are directed to our ticketing system. As I mentioned briefly earlier, we use JavaScript in our local Primo customization package to create the links. This is probably the most unique part of our setup. It might be possible to add a link using the standard Primo V admin interface, but I don't think it would be possible to add multiple links all over the place as we wanted. And JavaScript also allows us to capture the URL of the starting page and direct it to the form. The user fills out the rest of the form, and it is sent as an email to our ticketing system. So first, coding the link. I'm not going to go over the code in detail, but I'll include the relevant portions on the next slide for anyone who wants to read it later. It lives in the custom.js file in the customization package. It's coded using AngularJS. It has two sections, one to grab the user's URL for the form, and one to place the link throughout the Primo record. For general instructions on how to customize Primo, please consult Ex Libris. So this is the actual code. This was developed by Dulce Smith and Laura Rubel, who led our Alma and Primo migration team. So now let's look at the form. This is the form that the user fills out. I'm sorry, it's kind of small to fit on one slide. As you can see, sorry, I have to scroll down in the script that I'm blatantly reading off of. As you can see, we've added a couple of links at the top to cover users who accidentally logged into our Primo when they wanted the law or medical schools instead. This is a fairly common problem here. Then, after a field for their email address, the user is asked an opening question to help categorize the problem report. The options being, are you having trouble viewing an item online? Are you having trouble with your library account, items you've checked out, or an item request? Or other. These questions are intended to help us decide who should handle the question. The e-resources team handles access issues, while circulation handles account problems. And the other option allows users who don't think either option is right, continue with the form instead of giving up. We didn't want to put the user off with too many options. After that, a second question takes care of what would otherwise be our number one most common follow-up question: is the user on campus or off? And then after that, the user gets a free text field to describe their problem in as much or as little detail as they can, and as politely or otherwise as they wish. Below that, the URL field is automatically filled in. This allows us to see exactly what the user saw, most of the time anyway, and is a tremendous time saver. Finally, the user can enter their name and can choose if they want to reply or not. The form was developed by Max Starkenberg in our web team and Dominique Pierce in our academic technologies team, based on input from the Primo implementation and e-resources teams. So the form results are sent to our ticketing system. And you can see an example of an actual ticket here, just a simple one. Currently, we use desk.com as our ticketing system, but it's being retired next month. So we're supposed to transition to Service Cloud, I believe is the name. In Desk, the official term is case, but we usually say ticket here. All of the fields in the form, which we saw a moment ago, are included in the body of the ticket. And there's a setup to extract the user's email address and take it as the reply to address. The found a problem cases are assigned to their own group in Desk, separate from other teams and also separate from the e-resources team's other tickets to keep things organized. When a new ticket is created, each group member receives an email alert. So why do we use a ticketing system? It's actually central to our workflow now. The problem reporting link in our first link resolver simply sent an email. Later, we used a link to a Google form with submissions stored in a shared spreadsheet. And we continued that method through the first semester that we had Primo. And both of those methods certainly worked. But using the ticketing system has a number of advantages. First, it keeps all tickets and replies organized in a single searchable system. And it has the advantage of being a hosted system where it's harder to accidentally delete or overwrite things than it would be in email or in a spreadsheet. And it's also the same ticketing system we use for other purposes, so we don't have to maintain two systems. The tickets are assigned to groups and individuals, which provides accountability, but they can still be transferred whenever necessary. There's a built-in interface for administering agents and groups. And most important, by collecting tickets in one system, it's easier to spot trends and themes in problem reports. The disadvantages are, first, extra cost if you don't already have a ticketing system. Second, we get a number of bogus tickets created by out-of-office replies, delivery failure emails, and so on. And third, there's some extra effort required to coordinate between members of different teams in the same ticketing system if they have different workflows and different departmental cultures. So now let's take a quick look at the team organization and workflow. When the link was first set up during the implementation stage, our cross-departmental Primo implementation team received the problem reports. Shortly thereafter, the e-resources team was brought in. This is the team that already handled e-resources troubleshooting in our old systems. And then over time, the Primo implementation team members moved on one by one. So now the Found a Problem group is just the e-resources team, plus Glenn Canner, who manages our monographic ordering and interlibrary loan. Tickets that should really be handled by another team are simply reassigned to them within desk.com. The ticketing workflow has been the subject of a lot of discussion. We looked at an idea to assign tickets to different groups automatically based on the details of the user form, specifically tickets where that "are you having trouble with your library account" option was checked would go to circulation. However, that would require extra complexity in the form, and so we've tabled the idea for now. Instead, staff working on tickets reassign them manually as they see appropriate. Another question was how to allocate the tickets to individual staff members. We considered having one person responsible for assigning tickets among the staff, but in the end, we decided on assigning tickets based on the time they were received. Each day is divided into 4-hour shifts, which are each assigned to one person. The shifts rotate each day so that over time, everyone has the same number of daytime and nighttime shifts, weekend and weekday shifts, etc. The schedule exists outside of Desk. Desk just sends everyone the same alerts. And the shifts are only used for dividing up the tickets. The staff members do the actual work on them during their regular work hours. Of course, the schedule is only a tool, not the law. We all frequently collaborate on each other's tickets, cover each other's shifts when someone is out of the office, etc. Anyway, once the ticket is received, the actual workflow is so straightforward that I'm not sure workflow is even the right term. The person who's up for that shift claims the ticket, works on it, or transfers it to another person as appropriate, replies to the user, and closes the ticket when done. All messages back and forth between the user and the staff member are within the ticketing system interface. Excuse me. So I know we're getting close to lunchtime, but I'll briefly look at some examples of how Found a Problem has helped us. We went live in July 2018. Since then, we've gotten almost 1,500 problem reports and other feedback via the Found a Problem link. That's not including a few hundred bogus tickets created by bounced emails, etc. In some cases, this feedback has influenced our Primo setup or alerted us to major flaws in our systems. One example came early in the implementation process. We realized that many users were confused by the process of logging into the right Primo, that is, between the GW libraries, the law library, and the health sciences library. Knowing this, we made it a top priority to improve the login process and make it as clear as possible to users. As a side note, we are now skeptical that we made the right decision to keep the 3 GW libraries as separate institutions. A second example earlier this year was when our consortial loan system suddenly stopped working. We first learned about the problem through Found a Problem reports. And as a bonus, while the system remained down, our colleagues in resource sharing were able to manually request the items in the patron's problem reports. So the users still received their materials with minimal added delay. A third example I'll just mention real quick was a problem report about doing advanced searches by author name that never completed, which actually uncovered a bug in Primo that was reported to Ex Libris and which they fixed. Most problem reports are routine, of course. There are the usual problems with, for example, a journal that has the wrong custom dates entered in ALMA, so an article appears to be available that isn't. But even the routine ones can lead to more systemic revelations. For example, a sudden spate of problems from one provider can indicate that there was a problem with renewing our subscriptions there. A few ideas we're considering for the future. Desk.com is being replaced by Service Cloud. This might very possibly lead to changes in our workflows, but we will not make any definite decisions until we've had hands-on experience with it. We are going to reconsider and possibly experiment with some of those options I mentioned, such as automatically routing tickets. And third, if we have time, we might look for a way to format the found a problem link to avoid having it clash with the left sidebar, as you can see in this screenshot here. And so that is my spiel. So if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. You can also email me at any time. There's my address. So,
Chris, are you able to see the Q&A?
Yeah.
Or would you like me to read them?
Okay, I can see it now. I don't know if that's appearing in the shared desktop or not. The first question was whether we have Primo back office or Primo VE, and the answer is VE. Does the code track which section of the page the user clicked on the link? Like which of the many links that the click was on? Unfortunately, no. That is an idea that's occurred to us, but we haven't really pursued doing it yet. So the next question was the name of the ticketing system we're using. It's desk.com by Salesforce, but they're going to retire it in a matter of weeks, so no one can implement that. The new product is called Service Cloud, I believe. Next question is, do questions come in that are more general reference questions in addition to specific problems? Yes, sometimes, but not a lot. Of course, the library has a completely separate system for users to contact a research librarian. They can chat or phone in or set up an in-person appointment. And most of our patrons seem to be finding that when they want to ask a reference question instead of using the found a problem link. Is the form only accessible via this link in Primo? There is a way to get to the form on our website without going through Primo, but that's it's not very obvious, and I don't know if anyone actually uses it. We also have a found a problem link on the Primo starting page. If a user goes to the Primo starting page instead of just using the search box on our website, then they'll see the found a problem link there. Is there a clear value to asking users to identify what type of problem they're having? If everyone is receiving the alerts anyway, what's the value in asking them to categorize? There was some discussion about automatically routing tickets based on the type of problem, and so that's originally why we included that, to keep that option open. We still find a little value to that, just to get an idea of what's coming when you start to read the ticket. I wouldn't say it's essential, but it is sometimes useful. Assigning the tickets based on time received. When you indicate that the schedule is external to the ticketing system, is the ticket unassigned until a staff member makes an assignment? The answer to that is yes. There is no automatic assignment. the person whose shift it is usually claims the tickets. Sometimes one of us will assign tickets to someone, especially if we think that they're the right person to answer it. But nothing is assigned automatically or claimed in desk parlance. What is your turnaround time in answering problems? Do you look at reports monthly, for example, to see if questions are in a certain area? Our goal for turnaround time is by the next business day. We commit to at least sending a response if a question can't be resolved right away, sending a response telling the user that we're working on it. We do not currently have a regular schedule for reviewing the problems to see what sort of trends come up. We do that on an ad hoc basis. Since we're all sharing the same system, we tend to spot trends as they emerge, more than by going back and reviewing later. All right. Oh, geez. There's a lot more questions that I did not see at first. Hopefully I will get into them, get to them all. On average, how many tickets do we get a week? I would say anywhere from 10 to 20 on average per week, but it really varies a lot. Depending mostly on the time of the semester, but also randomly. Have you considered having an open-close modal format for the question, like a pop-up chat box on the pages rather than multiple links on the pages? No, we haven't. We haven't investigated that process yet, or that possibility yet. It's an interesting idea, though. Were Ex-Libris staff amenable to the Primo customization that we wanted? As far as I know, yes. They were definitely amenable to us customizing in general. I think our whole consortium has done customizations. I did not work directly on that setup, so I'm not positive, but I didn't hear about any problems. Before you developed this custom approach with JavaScript, did you investigate any options available natively in Primo VE? Only very briefly. Once the idea for the JavaScript came up, we liked it so much that we dropped looking at what's available natively. So would your modification to Primo, the error spotter, be easily added? Again, I was not the one who implemented it, so I'm not sure how easy it was. I don't think we had any errors with it. It worked as soon as it was implemented. So, so hopefully it's not a difficult process. Did we use the SFX version of this feature previously? We used SFX until 2013, and then after that we used 360 Link. So my memories of SFX are kind of hazy now. But we did use the problem reporting link in the SFX link resolver screen. To be honest, I don't remember how much detail is included in the reports. We find that the reports that we're getting now usually have enough detail, and we can always send the patron a follow-up request if they don't. Do the rate of errors spotted increase or decrease over time? They definitely vary over the course of a semester. I would not say that they're increasing or decreasing very much over the long term. After the initial migration errors were shaken out, it's been relatively constant since then. Okay, and someone is just pointing out that WRLC did a lot of work with Ex Libris to customize. And certainly if anyone has more questions about customization, you can email me and I can pass it along to the relevant people if I don't know the answer. Okay, and I guess I am about out of time.
You timed that perfectly. There is one question in the chat I see, but I believe your source code is in your slides when they're posted. Is that correct?
Right, that's correct.
Okay, thank you so much for presenting today.
Thank you.
Again, the slides and videos will be posted hopefully next week, and registrants will be notified when that happens. We will take a short break and resume at 1 o'clock with our next presentation.